Hello and welcome to a new type of video on this channel. This is a play and commentary, and essentially what it is just me playing a game and yakking on about various things, most of which are going to be to do with the games industry in one way or another. It's no accident that I selected Modern Warfare 3 because that's the first topic that I want to get to this time. I'm hoping to be able to do sort of one of these once a month or sort of like that, maybe even once a week depending on how they go. It just takes a lot of time to record. I have to set everything up, I have to use a different capture card and so on and so forth, and that requires using different cables, so it's just a case of really just seeing how this goes, and you know, probably it's just going to be once a month, to be honest with you, but there we go. Anyway, I just wanted to talk this time round. I just wanted to start off talking about Modern Warfare 3, which came out this week. I went to the midnight launch, and I don't think I've ever been, I think possibly the only time I've been in a queue as large was for the launch of the iPad, and reason being there was no way of pre-ordering the iPad to pick up in the store at the time, so you know, the world and his wife was queuing up outside the Apple store. I went to the midnight launch and I thought, well, I'll get there, you know, a good 10-15 minutes early, because where I was picking the game up from, it isn't really well, it's a major game outlet, I suppose, but there are many game outlets in the area, and so I just kind of assumed that there'd be a dilution of people. I mean, if the queue that I was in any way, shape or form an indication of the other queues that was around and about other game stores, then this game will have sold by the metric truckload. Sorry, excuse me. Which obviously it has done. I mean, it's a Modern Warfare game, it's a Call of Duty game, they always sell in huge numbers. I would say this one's probably been one of the more anticipated for a number of reasons. This is the first Modern Warfare game where West and Zampella, who were the main guys behind the Call of Duty franchise, that they weren't actually involved in it. And so, just from that point of view, I was kind of interested to see how this game would develop. I don't think anyone could suggest that the departure of West and Zampella was going to be the death knell for the series in terms of its quality. I mean, yeah, sure, they're the leaders, they steer the ship, but the people that worked on the game have probably worked on quite a number of Call of Duty games anyway. And they know how to make the game. They're the guys chiefly responsible, are the main developers of the game, not West and Zampella. I mean, they're the ones that obviously have the ideas and steer the ship. But I think when you've got a franchise that has been going for as long as it has and has had the success that it has, the guys who are working on it, they know how to make the game. They know how it works. I think from their perspective, all they really had to do was make the game at least as good as Modern Warfare 2, which, in my opinion, they have done. I mean, I really enjoy the game. I think it's a very, very good game. I think that the single-player campaign, which continues the Modern Warfare story, is compelling. I really enjoy it. But without doubt, the mode I enjoy most is the Special Ops, which is kind of like the Horde mode on Gears of War, where you just face wave after wave of increasingly difficult bad guys. And when you dispatch them, you get dollars, and those dollars you can use to buy weapons, or so on and so forth. And you also rank up as well. So if you don't fancy the whole business of playing online, you can play Special Ops like I'm doing here by yourself, and you can rank up, which gives you access to many of the nice little goodies that you get when you rank up online. The thing that it really doesn't give you is access to a lot of the perks. You just get the access to the weapons. I think yeah, just access to the weapons. I can't remember now whether you get weapon access to the weapons perks. I don't think you do. I can't remember. So, but yeah, most definitely, it's just the same as it were. It's just running around the maps. You can get to learn the maps, which is always important for multiplayer games. The actual multiplayer itself, it's just Call of Duty. I mean, it's 1 minute I love it, the next minute I hate it. It really just sort of depends on how well they're doing the game. The main problem with any first-person shooter online like this, or pretty much any game, is always going to be lag. And it's very, very difficult with first-person shooters to do much about it, in my opinion. And there will be people that say, oh yeah, you can do, developers can do something about it. Well, if it was that easy, then why haven't they done it? Nobody likes to be criticised, and they have had plenty of time to sort any kind of issue out. But if you've not got as fast a connection as someone else, well then you're just going to get killed, and it's unfortunate and it's a pain. And in some games it's worse than others, and I think it's down to the game types. I think in this instance first person shooters suffer more from it than maybe third person shooters. I don't know. I mean, I never found Call of Duty 2 or 3 that bad when it came to lag. It only really seemed to come into play when Modern Warfare came out, and I think it's just to do with these more complex things going on. The Call of Duty 1 and 2 were your bog standard death matches, team death matches. I think there was capture the flags in there as well. I mean, it was all pretty standard, whereas there's a lot more going on here, and plus the fact as well, there's a hell of a lot more players online too. I mean, when I was playing Call of Duty 2 was when the 360 first came out, and so there was nowhere near the number of players playing online, and obviously the more people are signed into the servers, the tougher it gets. So, I mean, it swings and roundabouts. I mean, I have had lag work in my favour as well. It's just one of the evils of playing online. There's not an awful lot you can do about it as a gamer, aside from going through the usual channels of trying to improve your connection and so on and so forth. But I mean, like I say, it's worked for me, it's worked against me. It is a problem. It's very frustrating when it does happen. But I think they do as much as they can do. I'm not going to sit here either, and I'm not going to do what so many people do, and that's compare it with Battlefield 3. They're two different types of games. I mean, yeah, okay, the military, I get that. They are going to have similar weapons, they're going to have similar sort of maps, types and scenarios and what have you. But the actual feel, Battlefield always feels more like a slow-paced, you have to take more note of the surroundings, you have to, be more deliberate in what you're doing. There's a lot more reliance on team play, especially with Battlefield, and Battlefield 3. Whereas this has always been a lot more fast-paced. It's always been, a bit more showy, bit more, I'm trying to think of a decent way of drawing a sort of analogy, really. It's kind of difficult. It's, you sort of... Your Call of Duty games have always been more about the sort of huge explosions and grand set pieces and so on and so forth, where your Battlefield has always been, more about, team play and what have you. And that works for me. I mean, it suits the type of mood that I'm in. If I want to play in... I was going to say more realistic, but I don't think that's the right thing. But certainly, it's about mood. Let's just put it that way. If you're in the mood for just a quick, riotous blast around, or, you want a fast-paced game, fast-paced first-person shooter, online, then you're a Call of Duty person. If you want to be a game where, you know, you're having to stop and move into cover frequently, and you have to, you know, scan the area and what have you, then, you know, Battlefield 3's for you. You can't compare the two. It's ridiculous to compare the two. What you can do is compare Modern Warfare to say Black Ops. Is it better than Black Ops? Yeah, in some ways it is, and I'm talking about the multiplayer here. In some ways it is, in other ways it isn't. I always think Treyarch try to put as much as they can into the game, where Infinity Ward just sort of work hard on making the multiplayer side, and they sort of throw the story on it, and then, you know, the single player story mode, they throw that on it and then they push it out. Where Treyarch always sort of seem to like to have this added value where they'll add extra little game modes on here and there too. So in some ways it's better. I found Black Ops more interesting in terms of the weapons, in terms of the setting, in terms of the maps. I preferred Black Ops in the multiplayer, just really because of that. You know, I've always found that sort of Vietnam 1960s period more interesting than the sort of modern day ones. I like the historical shooters better, but I know I do enjoy playing this, so I guess a win all round. So that really covers what I wanted to say about Modern Warfare 3 as a game. I really enjoy it, think it's very good, so that is that. Right, what I wanted to talk about next, it's kind of tied in with Modern Warfare 3 too, but it's also something that I think is quite important. A lot of people have said, and myself included, that Modern Warfare 3 actually feels like Modern Warfare 2.5, and I think that's a fair comment. There's nothing revolutionary here. I mean, if these maps could very well have been DLC. You know, would you pay £40 for a 6-hour single player campaign? Well, I certainly wouldn't. So the question really you have to ask is it worth the money? Well, or, you know, are we being ripped off? Well, the problem is that this is actually a game that's been 2 years in development, not a game that's been in a year's development, as some might think, because Treyarch made Black Ops, and this is Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer Games that have made Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. And therefore this will have probably been 2 years in the making. Now, excuse me, you have to ask yourself, what exactly could they do to change it? You see, the problem the guys have got, the developers have got, is people love Modern Warfare, and they have an expectation of what they want out of Modern Warfare 3. So, you know, from the single player campaign right the way through to the multiplayer, they've got an expectation. This is what this is what they want from their game, and it makes it oh dear, excuse me, it makes it kind of difficult to come out with a game that's different. If they did come out with a game that was radically different from called Modern Warfare 2 in terms of the multiplayer or even the single player or just how the game played, you know, if they added in, you know, they said, look, we've developed this for 2 years, we've gone in this direction, you know, like they did with Modern Warfare. I mean, Modern Warfare was a completely different feel to it than Call of Duty 2. I mean, that was the last time Infinity Ward actually changed the game significantly. They have got to appease the fans. They've got to give the fans what they want. And although innovation is important, they are stuck between a rock and a hard place. And at first I was like, God, this is such a con. This is just Modern Warfare 2 DLC time. But having sat down and thought about it, what are Infinity Ward's options? They've got to make a game that people want to play. They've got to keep the fans happy. They've got a formula that they know works. They've got a formula that they know has been working since Modern Warfare. It's also been a formula that's been copied a number of times by many other games. So it's kind of difficult for Infinity Ward to do anything other than make more of the same. How long they can get away with that, that's a completely different question. I think that this is probably, because it's ended the story, the trilogy story of Modern Warfare as it was. I mean, I've no doubt they'll be making more Call of Duty games, and they'll probably be making, you know, more Modern Warfare games, but whether it'll carry the Modern Warfare title, or whether they'll give it a new one, or whether they'll be calling it Call of Duty Modern Warfare, whatever, with another subtitle attached to it, I don't know. But what I'm trying to say is that at some point or another, they're going to have to change up, because as Activision found out with Guitar Hero, there's only so long the games will sell when there's no significant difference between each iteration of it. I mean, I would imagine Treyarch are working on the next Call of Duty game. Now, that'll probably be released next year, and that will contain elements from this one. That means that the multiplayer campaign will probably not be significantly different. We're not going to see much in the way of innovation. And I suspect we're not going to see much in the way of innovation until the next generation of consoles. I think this generation has hit a plateau in terms of what experiences the players are going to get. What the next generation is going to bring, I've no idea. More interactive environments, more players online, so you're going to have bigger battles. I mean, that's certainly something the PC has benefited from, has been, far greater number of players online. Would that ruin it for the consoles? Would it make it better? It's kind of difficult. Are we going to see vastly improved graphics? How much more better can the graphics get? I mean, the graphics in this game are excellent. How much more realistic do we want the graphics to be as well? I mean, that's another consideration. As we push closer to photorealism, are we going to get to the point where it's just games are going to just be tasteless? We've seen it in, already people showing outrage in the Modern Warfare 2, and some people are whinging about this game, the London Underground thing. I mean, personally, I played through the level and didn't really see. I think the scene that probably most people are angered about is a cutscene, well, kind of an interactive cutscene that happens after you've played through the London Underground level. It's all going to be interesting to see what happens, because I think that they need to change something. They need to do something different. They're not going to do anything radically different. I don't think that's going to happen until the next generation, and don't ask me what it's going to be, because I haven't got a clue, because I don't know what the next generation of consoles are going to be like. I don't know where the focus is going to lie. I think in truth only the people working on the next generation of consoles know what they're going to be like. The rest of it's just speculation. People can have an intelligent and informed opinion on what's going to come next, but I don't especially think that anybody out there knows. I say, apart from the people actually working on the research and development of those, and probably some game developers as well that'll be working on games for it, or for them. So I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be interesting to see where Activision take this. They can't afford to lose this franchise to, in the same way that Guitar Hero sort of died a bit of a death. I think they've got to be a bit more prudent with the Call of Duty franchise, because it is the jewel in their crown. The Tony Hawk's franchise was a big deal for them. That fell apart. The Guitar Heroes suffered. I'm not saying it's fallen apart, but it's suffered certainly. And so this is something that they're heavily reliant on. And if they cock this up, then you have to wonder what franchises are Activision going to turn to next. Establishing a new franchise is the most high risk and difficult thing to do. And so the ball will strictly be in Activision's court on that one. And they're fiercely defensive of this. They're elaborating on the Call of Duty franchise with the Call of Duty Elite thing, which you can buy, which is like I don't know really. I mean, I've not got it, but it looks like it. It has some stuff on there for tracking stats online and so on and so forth. So there is a move to make this a very much more integrated piece of software. So it's clear Activision still feel there's a huge long-term future for the Call of Duty franchise. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I don't think really I've got much else to say. I just wanted to talk about that. I just want to have a chat about Modern Warfare 3, and just wanted to talk about where the series is going to go. How much, has it got much life left in it? I think it has, but I think it's got to evolve. And I don't think it's going to do that until the next generation of consoles come out, simply because of the costs involved. I've no doubt there's a team of people working on that right now. So yeah, thanks for listening to this video, and thanks for watching it as well. And please stay tuned for more videos to come. Thanks very much.